So, we are back, and I will say firstly, excuse the hair. I apparently need a haircut again. It looks really bad. Um, also, I haven't shaved in a few days. Oh, that's falling. Right, oh dearie me. Okay, that's not going well. Right, let's get on to it. So, Louis Vert has finally dropped the pink tape, so we're going to listen to it, and we're going to see what it's all about. 26 tracks, I think, if I remember correctly. And what else was I going to say? No, that's it. Yeah, I'm going to keep the sort of same style as the video as last time because I liked it. So I'm going to sort of listen to the whole album, make notes, and then just talk about it as a whole instead of doing each individual track. I think it just flows better. So yeah, let's get on to it. Jesus Christ, where to even start? Okay, I've made notes on my iPad, so I'm just sort of going to reference from that. I mean, I'm going to say this at the end, but I'm going to say it now too. The best way of describing this album is an hour and a half of your life that you will never get back. I mean, I didn't really go into it with any expectations, and I was somehow still disappointed. Um, yeah, so I'm just going to sort of go through the tracks quickly and then sort of talk about it a little bit. So, first track, Flooded the Face, not much to say, it's quite repetitive. Yeah, oh yeah, I'll get onto that at the end. Quite repetitive, but I think this one might grow on me over time. Suicide Doors, I quite like the electric guitar, it's more upbeat, it's sort of more what I'm into at the moment. A featuring Travis Scott, it's cool to see Travis Scott on the album, but I'm not a huge fan of him. Didn't really like Uzi's parts in that, and same with Travis's verse. Didn't like the instrumental or the beat, way too repetitive. Crush 'Em, exactly the same. Amped, more like Suicide Doors, so I liked it more. Bit of a demon noise at the start though, which was kind of funny and creepy at the same time. That the same you'll know what I'm talking about if you listen to it, but that same noise is used several times. But overall, that one's a bit meh. X2 was meh. Died and Came Back was better. Spin Again, Demon Noise Back, that was okay. That Fire, that one's alright. I think that one, I didn't really make a lot of notes, but because I was kind of just trying not to cry whilst listening to this. I think That Fire had like a really weird start or something, or I'm thinking about a different track, but at this point, oh wait, no, I'm thinking of Fire Alarm. Yeah, okay. No, That Fire was just alright. I Gotta was too long and repetitive yet again. Now we go on to Endless Fashion featuring Nicki Minaj. Now this was interesting because this sampled. I know it's a popular song that it's sampled, but I can't quite place it. I don't know what the name of it is. But I thought that was kind of cool. And so I'm not the biggest fan of Nicki Minaj, but her bits were alright, and I do quite like how at the start at least they sort of went back and forth. I do quite like that. And then she sort of had a longish verse in the middle and then whatnot. But that was kind of cool. So yeah, I've also noted that this was one of the better tracks on the album so far. But that's because it's not a very high bar to beat. Then we move on to Mama I'm Sorry. The only significant thing I got from this was that he used some lyrics from Chief Keef's song Love Sosa. That was kind of cool, but also like whatever. Yep. All Alone, I liked the beat, sort of. Too long though. Nakamura, now that one was alright. This is another upbeat one, and I actually quite liked the instrumental for it. Just Wanna Rock, I'm pretty sure. Well, actually, I know it was a single that was released before this, but I think it was the only one that was released. So I hadn't heard the full song before. I'd only heard like bits from TikToks, and that made me hate the song. But yeah, after listening to the entire song, I dislike it more. Yeah. Fire Alarm. Holy crap, this was bizarre. I mean, I don't even know what to say, just listen to it and you'll see why I'm saying that. CS, no idea what that stands for. Complete shit, maybe? No, this one was alright. It started off with an acoustic guitar, moved on to an electric guitar. It was kind of a metal song. It's cool to see him sort of try different sounds, you know. This one was alright. And then we move on to Werewolf featuring Bring Me the Horizon. So I'm pretty sure they're sort of like a rock band. So I mean, it wasn't a bad song. It was just weird because it wasn't a Lil Uzi Vert song. I mean, he was sort of in it for like 10 seconds, and he sort of whispers something. So essentially, it was a "Bring Me the Horizon" song in a Lil Uzi Vert album. So it sort of sticks out a little bit like a sore thumb, but that doesn't mean it's bad. It's just different to the other tracks, you know. It's okay. Pluto to Mars, back to his sort of normal, typical style, I guess you could say. It's quite funny going from Werewolf to that because they're very different. It was okay. Patience featuring Don Toliver, bit boring. I'm not gonna lie, a bit boring. Sorry. I'm not the biggest fan of Don Toliver either. I just haven't gotten into his music. So yeah, I didn't really like that. Days Come and Go. I liked the instrumental at the start. It was alright, but a bit long. Rehab. I just kind of spaced it out during that one. It was a bit dull. Then we move on to The End, featuring Baby Metal. Now, if you don't know, they are I don't know, I can't remember which country, so I'll say Asian. They're an Asian rock band, and it used to be three, it might be two now, but it's like women, girls. They look young, but they're probably like older than me. But yeah, they do like heavy metal music, and it's pretty sick. So I scrolled through the track list before playing it, and I saw this, and I was like, ooh, okay. But I feel like the best way to describe this song is this is like the musical embodiment of how your teeth feel after you eat spinach. It just like it cuts out a lot and goes back in. It does that way too much. It just sounds fuzzy. The chorus with the baby metal people singing is cool, but it just doesn't go with the verses. It just doesn't. So this was cool, but it wasn't very good. So now we move on to the 3 bonus tracks. Zoom was okay, of course, was meh, and Sade was actually alright. Yeah, I don't want to. So yeah, just to go back to the summary, I'm trying to keep this short. Once again, I'll say it again. I said it at the start, I'll say it now. It was a waste of an hour and a half. Yeah, I'm never gonna get that time back. Most of the tracks sounded the same, and usually that's alright. In the case of the Foo Fighters album I reviewed a couple weeks ago, and the Trippie Redd album that released 2 years ago, all of the tracks sounded quite similar, but in those cases, they were good. In this case, they are not. Yeah. So, well, if I had to sort of pick out tracks that sort of stood out to me, so I've only added 4 of these 26 tracks to my playlist, and they are Suicide Doors, Amped, Nakamura, and The End. I didn't like all of them. It's just because I sort of want to listen to them more, and I think they'll grow on me a bit. But yeah, otherwise, not that impressed by this album. And I do find it funny that he changed the album cover, because the original one, you'll see on the thumbnail of this video, the original one is so much cooler than the new one. But yeah, we move. So I guess if you've listened to this, I'm sorry you wasted an hour and a half of your life. But jokes aside, let me know what you thought. Let me know what your favourite tracks were. Yeah, thanks for listening, and I will see you again soon.